Hi, Nancy.
Hi, beautiful. How are you?
Hi. I'm always looking forward to our conversation. So
Oh, me too.
today I wanted us, and you agree, because there's something going on in our space where we want to talk about empath and being an empath and what it means to be an empath and what it looks like to be an empowered empath. And the reason why is because I've had so many conversations with people in the spiritual energetic world where they're talking about just, oh, I, being an empath is so hard. I, being an empath, it's a gift, but yet, da, 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 da. And I'd be sitting there listening to this sermon of, oh, it's a curse to have such a powerful gift. What do you think, Nancy? And so I'll tell you what my response was that, because I think she caught me on a bad night where I don't have an impulse control on tolerance, right? So
Yes.
anyway, I'll let you share your thoughts of being cursed with such a beautiful gift from God, but yet such pain.
Oh, yes. I hear it all the time. And my own son, when he was about 4 years old, even said to me, "Thanks a lot, Mom, for giving me that gift, being an empath, because it's a curse." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, you're 4 years old. It's not a curse." So I had to start training him on how to be empowered as an empath. And for him, it wasn't coming from ego. "Oh, I have this amazing gift. I'm so special. I'm so unique." It was just him being honest with me because he would feel everything from everyone. He has all kinds of different empathic gifts. So we all have the ability to be empathic. It's a natural human gift that everyone has, but like we all have different types of empathy gifts. But some people think it's like so unique and they're like they deserve a crown for being an empath, but yet they use it for attention sometimes, and they may not even realize it when they're saying, "Oh, I have this gift and it's exhausting and poor me," but yet it's so special. You have to change your perception, first of all. Being an empath is natural for humanity. Okay, we're all energetic beings. We all have the ability to be empaths. So we just have different types of empaths. So you could be a physical empath where you feel someone's physical symptoms or illnesses or whatnot, and you can take them on. You can be an emotional empath where you're feeling someone's emotions. You know what mood someone's in or what they're going through. Even if they're smiling, you know that they're grieving within. You could be a telepathic empath, like an intuitive empath. So you could be like, connecting to plants and or telepathic messages with animals and different beings in the world. But you could be a dream empath, a medium. Like there's so many gifts, and everybody has a gift or even multiple gifts. Nobody's more special than anyone. No one's more gifted than anyone. It's just different. Okay, we all have unique gifts, but you have to change your perception, and it is a blessing because you can serve in this world in such a powerful way when you can feel, when you can tune in, you can serve at another level. And those that haven't embraced those gifts are people that have their hearts blocked, either from trauma or wounds, or they're afraid of those gifts. Like I know people that, they know if someone's going to pass away. Well, they want to shut that down. So they've developed like OCDs or addictions to shut down those empathic gifts. So a lot of people aren't tuning into their gifts as an empath because of fear or because of pain. So we all have empathic gifts. So you're not special, you're not cursed. We just all have them. And whether you tuned into it or not depends on your journey and how open you are to it or aware that you have these gifts, possible gifts. So anyway, changing your perception of it being a curse to being a natural ability, a beautiful ability to serve at a deeper level, to live at a deeper level. It's powerful, but it's beautiful.
Ladies and gentlemen, here is an empowered empath. And this is our topic for today.
Well,
You've just described it so beautifully, right? On what an empath even means. But today, I really want us to hammer in how an empowered empath operates. It's like the work that I do when I'm teaching women how to be in a relationship. We have all these abilities that we're born with, but yet we weren't taught. So does that make us stupid? Does that make us cursed? Does that make us, disempowered? Does it make us, weak? No. If we haven't been taught something, it doesn't mean we're stupid. And I think this is a society of complete misunderstandings and misconceptions on what things mean. And people don't think I'm an empath. Like, they know I have a gift, but they don't give me the name empath, because you know why? Because I'm not emotional. I don't appear weak. Isn't it crazy, right? So I'll give you my response to that person that was talking to me. Is like, yeah, my life, she goes through issues, right? She wants things, but yes, she doesn't have it. Then the toxic positivity, she wants to be positive,
Yes.
severe people pleasing. So I was telling her about people pleasing, how that is an issue that she needs to deal with. It's like, yeah, but I'm an empath. So therefore, people pleasing is like hand in hand. I'm like, yeah, exactly. Right. It's like, but Susan, you wouldn't, like, you don't suffer with that. Like, almost like, well, Susan, you're not an empath. And so you're not cursed with that. It's lucky you. And I'm like, wow, is that ever ego or what?
Yeah.
Now you've
Lot of
just
ego.
pigeonholed me and I don't understand because I don't agree. Oh, you didn't suffer what I suffer with. And did you ask me, how do you know what I suffered with? You never asked, right? And this is the thing. So my response to her, and this is going to be funny, I looked at her in the most serious way and I'm like, what makes you think I'm not an empath? I said, you've worked with me as a client. I know everything. I know you before you know you. So and you always say, Susan, you have the superpower of vision where I could see you, hear you. I know you better than you know yourself. I even know what's about to happen, right? And I've proven it to her. So doesn't that make me an empath?
Exactly. Yeah. You have multiple types of empathy within
Right?
you.
Yeah.
Yes. You don't live in ego with it, and you don't victimize yourself from it, because it's not a state of being victimized. It's a gift. It's beautiful to embrace that state of consciousness of living in your heart. It's
Yep.
beautiful.
It is. So that I looked at her, I said, who gave you the trophy of Miss Empath?
That's good. A lot of
Who
people
died
wear
and
this
made you,
trophy.
yeah, who died and made you God? So
Yeah.
the story you just twisted around for me in the last 5 minutes is, Susan, you're not an empath. You wouldn't know,
Oh my goodness.
right? Well, that's what the story's showing me,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
I'm just laughing inside because I'm thinking, wow, I need to educate you a bit here. Because I looked at her, I said, I am a bigger empath than a million empaths put together. The only difference is I don't twist around the story to make an excuse of why I don't get what I want. So let me teach you about how to empower yourself as an empath rather than labeling yourself as an empath. There's a difference. There's no label. We are all, like you said,
Yeah.
we're all empaths.
Yes, absolutely. We're energetic beings. We don't have extension cords sticking out of our butts, right? We are energy, and we're sensitive to everything. We really are. We could be sensitive to something going on the other side of the world, right? You feel it. You feel the grief or you feel the joy, depending on what it is. Like, we're energetic beings. We all have it.
Yeah. Unless you're a psychopath. I'm not talking about psychopaths.
Yeah.
Psychopaths
Yeah.
don't even
Turned
have.
off. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a physiological dysfunction there. Like they don't have any emotions. No, like they're like a blob. Like we're not talking about psychopaths. We're talking about empaths. Where even narcissists are empaths. They just learn the tool of shutting down the caring. That's all,
Yeah.
right?
So that could be from trauma, neglect, or being spoiled, or whatever. There's multitude of reasons, right?
Absolutely. So I think the empathic world has twisted a label and put a story around it like, oh, we all got to stick together. And okay, an empath who is making up stories about that, the problem within the whole empathic world, the spiritual world, because I don't hear the corporate ever, any woman I know say, oh, I'm an empath, so I can't sit in this board meeting because I take on so much energy, and oh, that's why I'm feeling all frazzled. I have never heard the word empath used in a way that excuses the weakness, because it's just this whole story of, oh, poor me, the empath, oh, the special gift empath. It's just a story to cope with why we don't find happiness. We're now blaming everybody who comes across our path that takes our energy. Nobody's taking. Can you talk about that, Nancy, please? About, oh, they zap my energy. They're taking my energy.
Yeah, I think a lot of people use that because they feel so tired and drained that they're like blaming others because they don't want to be responsible necessarily, or they're not being responsible for raising their vibration in their habits from day to day. Okay. So that's what, like, and I think some people do it for attention too, and use it so that they don't go to certain functions or don't, go to work or whatever, or school or whatever. And they may not even be aware of it. It could be a subconscious way of avoiding their lives, avoiding being responsible for their lives. But I believe, and I've seen it many times, and I do try to do this as much as possible, but when you are keeping your temple strong with high vibrational habits, what you eat, what you think, what you feel, how you express yourself, whether you're in like creative habits, whether you're, having an outlet through writing or art or dance or music, something where you get to express regularly. I think a lot of people get bogged down by their old wounds of the past or traumas, and empaths, a lot of them have had traumas, but I mean, everyone's an empath in some way, sorry, but a lot have had traumas, and they're drained from that because they've never learned how to heal. They've never learned how to integrate the shadow or learn to heal their inner child or learn self-love. So they are low vibration within themselves. They're already susceptible to like seeping out their energy into like wherever they focus. Like what you focus on expands. That's where your energy goes. So say you're not taking care of your temple. Here I am rambling, but you don't take care of your temple. If you're not, keeping your pH at a healthy level and, watching high vibe entertainment or listening to high vibrational music and keeping good company around you where you feel good. If you're not doing these things to stay healthy and take care of your temple, your aura, like your energy center that surrounds your body and protects your body, will have holes in it. So you will be seeping out energy into the world and taking on energy much more than you normally would if you're taking care of your being. So yeah, you will be depleted in certain situations. You will be depleted if you're watching the news. You will be depleted if you're listening to like, horrific music that's talking about rape and killing or, it's just natural. But if you're taking care of you and you have a strong aura, your center will be protected. If you have a strong connection to your creator, if you're grounded in your being, into the earth, if you're doing all these things to stay strong, no one's going to be draining your energy. You can't blame anyone outside of you for draining your energy. You're the one giving your power away when you say that and when you believe that. You're the one making yourself susceptible to being drained. You're choosing that, believe it or not. So if you're in a marriage or in a job where you're constantly being drained, then maybe you need to change your surroundings too. Like you might need to make bigger choices in your life, but that's up to you. I mean, maybe you're blaming the workplace or you're blaming your spouse or whoever's around you, and it's not even the truth. So I would start by taking care of the vessel, taking care of the spirit, have healthy habits, be grounded, connect to the creator, and then see how your world is. Are you really being drained anymore? No. Like, you got to stay strong in your being, and you've got to express, you've got to let go of your old story, use it to create a different path, a more wise path, a more purposeful path in your life, instead of allowing yourself to be victimized and claiming to be victimized by others.
Yeah. And you're so right. And this is why I love collaborating with you on what we're doing, because here there is that temple that is very important. And that's tied around our food, what we put inside, like you said, how we even surround ourselves, how everything makes us feel. And it is a choice. And so the temple is something, what you spoke of is really important. And for me, I focus more on, well, let's learn how to think. Let's learn how to let go. And these are more the driving stuff rather than the car. So yes, we have to take care of our car. We have to wash it once in a while. We have to take the food out of the car that's stinking, right? Like you have to take care of your car. But at the same time, what good is a car if you don't know how to drive it?
And a
Right?
lot of the thought processes are from our subconscious. We're not even aware of what's going on there. It's 90% of our mind.
Yeah.
So you don't even know. So like you need to use certain methods to shift those belief patterns. So you do change your thinking.
Absolutely. And here's the thing, our subconscious is part of the body of the car.
Oh, it is. Yes, it is the
Oh,
body.
it is, right? Like it's the engine, right? But the engine and the car without a driver is still an engine with a car.
Yeah,
It isn't going anywhere.
that's right.
So I focus on, well, let's drive our car. You have a beautiful, shiny car. So let's say, for example, we eat the food and we make sure we surround ourselves with inspirational content. And now what?
To do the work. Like you
Of
have
course.
to do the shadow work. You have to heal the inner child.
Yeah.
You know, deal with wounds or traumas of the past. You have to do all of it because we're not fragmented beings, right? Our subconscious needs to become conscious so that we can shift, so we can change.
Exactly. So the part that is really important for empaths, because that's the one thing that have turned us into empaths that have to excuse why we're weaker, we're tired, we care. Oh, no, hold on. They've been given the trophy that I care too much. Like I don't care just because I'm not suffering,
Yeah.
just because I have materialistic wealth. I have everything I want. Oh, but Susan, it's oh, I was even called an ice queen as half joke, right?
Oh my goodness.
Oh no, it's hilarious.
No.
Yeah, because they watched me over the years just walk away from what no longer serves me without too much guilt.
But that's powerful. Like that's being empowered. It is. You're not being cruel. You're choosing.
Well, exactly, right? But to an empath, it's like, oh, I wish I was like you, Susan, that you can just cut people off. Like these terms are so hilarious because I do technically, I cut you off. Because if you're going to be doing damage, even after I have voiced that you are doing damage,
Mhm.
then I have a choice,
Absolutely. We all have the ability to choose.
right? But an empath is like, no, I just care about humanity. I'm here to sacrifice my own life so everybody else is good. I'm like, well, good for you. Because I'll go and make you another trophy to give you an even higher level of pain. The ultimate empath that suffers. And so I am an empath, so are you. So, how do you and I get to a point where we are empowered and where we get everything we want in life? Because even the bad stuff that's happening to me, if anything does happen to me, I know it's serving me. And I just have to figure out without going down the rabbit hole of woe to me is what is it telling me? And most of the time, if I get really honest with the empathic side of me, which is the feelings,
Yeah.
right? You being an empath means you have feelings.
Mhm.
So what do we do with those feelings? We have a choice. We either sit there and not understand it and cry, or we sit there and try to understand it, but that's the work because it means you're going to have to learn how to let go of toxic people.
Mhm. Yeah. You have to learn to let go, period, of situations, experiences. Learn from everything as much as you can, but you have to keep moving forward. And
Yeah.
you're always looking back. You're missing out on life. You're missing out on the present moment. All we really do have is now. That matters, right? Like you can plan for the future, but when you're stuck in the past or the future, you're totally missing now.
Yeah.
We have to take life in and learn from everything we can. And you grow from it. Yeah, you can shed tears, but don't get stuck in those tears. Don't victimize yourself.
No.
It's a lot of empaths will victimize themselves.
Yeah.
And it's so unhealthy because it becomes a pattern, but they don't even know they're doing it sometimes.
No. And
No.
that's the thing. I think our conversation around this is not to judge anybody, it's not to call anybody out. We're just bringing a little bit more education and understanding of and blind spots, because if you're not aware you're doing it and now you're aware, now you have a choice.
Yeah.
The empathic world is beautiful because everybody in that empathic world wants to help people, wants to bring happiness to people's lives.
Yeah.
But the issue with empaths that I have noticed almost across the board is that they don't listen. They're too busy trying to be the savior. They're too busy trying to be the one to make you happy. The empaths control the happiness mechanism for everybody. That is spiritual ego. To me, if I'm an empath, which I am, but I don't even use that term. It's like, oh, guys, I'm an empath. I don't even have that in my dictionary because it's now misused. It's not even a power term anymore.
No, it's not. It's just another label, really. And everyone has the ability. So once you recognize that, then you don't need to use that term so much.
Yep.
It's like when people call me a healer. I'm like, well, I'm not the healer. I'm a conduit, but am I going to walk around going, I'm a conduit? Like people won't know what I mean, right? But yeah, the labels, people get caught up in labels too much. And I think people too, like a lot of empaths expect them from other people. They expect other people to be like them, to be from their heart like they are. Not everyone can be. Some people are so much in pain and so much in fear that their hearts are blocked. So like you can't expect that from everyone. Be like see people for who they really are, in that moment. People can change, people can heal, but it's not your job to make them happy. You can guide them, try to help them, but when you're sacrificing yourself and giving from a bleeding heart, not a radiant heart, you're getting drained from that. So when you're aware that, I need to be in a radiant heart, like have the creator flowing through you, have God flowing through you with that love, and that's what you're serving with, you're never going to run out. But when you're trying to be the savior and you're putting that pressure on you that you need to save everyone and you need all these projects as spouses or friends or whatever, and you need to fix everybody, it's just going to drain the hell out of you and deplete you. It's not your job to fix everyone. Some people actually avoid their own lives by focusing on other people's problems. They haven't done the work at all in themselves, but yet they're focused on, I have to fix that person. I have to save that person. I have to save the world. I have to save the animals. But yet, have you done the work on yourself? Have you worked on your own shadow? Have you integrated that so that you step into wholeness? Because you're going to get drained too if you haven't done the work. You're not going to be able to be in a radiant heart. So it's a lot deeper than we can even go in this conversation, really. Like
we can have a series on this because it's so deep, this whole issue, this whole movement. And the interesting thing is I'm working with a client right now, the most brilliant woman I've ever known, but dealing with the consequences of severe sexual trauma. And I'm not saying it's my specialty. It just seems like everybody from that area just come to me. And I think it's because of the fact of, I think because I'm an empath, I'm assuming, but also, I guess I'm going to claim it. Even if nobody gives it to me, I'm claiming it. But one of the major signs of a disempowered empath, because she's an empath, obviously, she had to save her own mother from being brutally beaten by her father at the age of 3. So I've never seen the perfect combination of people saving complex and people pleasing complex at the same time. This is severe. And so one of the things, the clues that you are in disempowered empath, because she saves lives. That's what she chose to do for a living. She saved lives on a professional level. But she's retired now because she had to step away from the re-injuring, because we choose what keeps re-injuring us. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah, we do. It's subconsciously a lot of the time.
Of course. That's our comfort. That's what we know.
Yeah.
So the moment the work that I do with her, it's been 2 years, so it's been a while, right? But she only started her healing work or even trauma work at the age of 50. Isn't it insane? No therapy, no healing, nothing for 50 years. So it's unbelievable the progress she's made. However, these are certain signs that I've noticed of a very disempowered light worker, because she is a light worker. She's an angel on earth. And most angels have been really hurt because angels come to earth with this bright light of perfection, of pure love, of pure insight on the goodness of everything. Unfortunately, they landed on earth.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of lessons to be learned.
Yeah,
Definitely.
this is
school.
this is the cesspool. Like, to an angel, earth is a cesspool.
There's a lot going on here. Yeah.
So when angels come on earth, they're coming with this like power of, we're going to change the world because we have pure love.
Yeah.
But God gave them the tool, the one tool they had to learn to use on earth, which is called discernment. And so I have all these angels coming to me. It's like broken wings. And even my client was saying the other day, Susan, can I go get my wings? Like, God. So she's at church every morning now. There's an oratory right near me. And so she's gone to the oratory every morning to get her wings back, because I sent her on a mission in the last 4 months, and she accomplished the mission, but she didn't abort when I told her to abort. So when, and so she lost her wings along the way, and that I call her the rogue angel. But there's so many angels, and I think empaths are those angels that didn't quite follow the instructions. But we're not supposed to follow instructions. We're supposed,
yeah,
exactly,
to destroy you if you're not aware of. Yeah, but I know that there's such good intention, right? But I can literally cause needless suffering, like your whole life. Like, I know I was a queen martyr for years, and wanted to save everyone. I had some terrible boyfriends. Well, they were super abusive, like a couple of those, and yet I wanted to fix them. They had no friends. Oh, poor him. He has no friends. That should be a red flag that maybe there's something. Not always. I mean, some people are introverted, whatever, but these guys were not. And no, there's a lot of signs, right? But empaths often just want to see the good or the potential of someone. And I used to always say, like, I love the soul of a being, but the humanness can be challenging, right? Which is, the wounds and the narcissism or whatnot. But yet the soul is pure. No matter what, the soul is pure. And when we love the soul, then, we know we're not responsible for anything, like for what we bring, but not for saving everybody. They have that potential because they have a soul.
absolutely.
Oh yeah. So your client is trying to save herself now, finally.
Of course.
Finally. Yeah.
And boy, I'm telling you, it's a journey. I keep laughing because I'm like, you know what? My journey with you, I got bruised butt, I got a broken neck. I mean, the whiplash when you have PTSD or trauma.
Yeah.
And every time she feels like I'm judging her, and we have to talk it through all the time. And once she looks into my eyes, then she anchors into, okay, hold on, no, this is Susan. And it's a process, right? Without trust and an empowered empath, she cannot be helped. She will just be enabled to be weak. So what an incredible angel she is, because she's chosen the hardest person to work with, but yet the only one that she trusts. So this is the thing as an empath. I mean, as an empath that is disempowered. Yes, an empath can have $1 million. Yes, an empath could have good people around them. Yes, an empath can choose to walk away from people who don't respect their dignity. Okay. Yes, you have permission. And because you walk away from somebody, if they suffer because they didn't respect your boundaries, then they chose to suffer. That's not your problem now. And this is the thing that I'm dealing with my client. As we went into our first mission, she finally attracted the first guy that actually was trauma aware and loved her for who she was. But guess what? 4 months later, when I baited him. In the quantum, we can bait in the quantum. The quantum, you can't tell them to come to you, but you can drop a piece of cheese in a mouse trap And free will in the quantum, you can watch them coming. I don't say come, or I don't go fetch him. I drop a piece of cheese to the narcissist and I see him coming. And that's when I said to her, abort mission. It's a narcissist. But she couldn't abort right away. So now I'm like, game on. Like now I have to get her to think her way through it. And one of the lines, an empath cannot walk away from toxicity or narcissism, right? Because all empaths are vulnerable if they're disempowered or cursed, like they say, is you're attracting narcissistic tendency people.
Oh yeah, it's a total chemistry there. Like it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah. It's like a magnet, like they're magnetized to the disempowered empath.
Oh, yeah. Exactly. So it's not for you to hide. This is the information you and I are giving everybody. It's not for you to hide even more, for you to be scared even more, because you living in this current state of protecting yourself all the time is scarier to me than to have the truth for you to work on changing something. And this is where my client was struggling with, because he was doing things like telling her, oh, Susan's wrong. I'm the only person she trusts. I'm the only person that has earned her trust for 2 years. I have never steered her wrong. And he is now starting to plant in her mind that I'm wrong. And so, and then he would do something and she would be like, yeah, but he didn't try. He didn't mean to. Isn't that the classic line of a disempowered empath?
Making excuses.
Yeah. So my line is to every disempowered empath, when is it not okay? So to disempowered empaths, the road to becoming an empowered empath is learn what is okay, what is not. It's called boundaries.
People have so much trouble setting them. It takes practice, but changes your life dramatically when you start, at least, energetic boundaries even.
Absolutely. There are more people in this life, sort of burst the I can change everybody's lives concept or belief, but most people in this physical life don't ever achieve their potential.
Oh yeah, no, the richest place in the world is the graveyard.
Yeah. So if we're basing our target on people's potential, you're going down their rabbit hole with them, because it's not your responsibility. If you have truly empowered spirituality, which is empowered empathic powers, you would be able to see and have a supervision of where they're about to go.
Yeah, if you have that type of empathy, yeah, for sure.
Right.
You have some sense of it for sure.
Yeah.
Empaths need to realize that they need to nurture their own souls. They need to nurture themselves. They need to take time for themselves first and prioritize their well-being, which a lot of them feel guilty about. They feel like they're meant here to be here only to serve others. You can't serve others if you're not taking care of you, like we talked about, fully embodying your temple and being empowered within your being, because that temple houses your soul. But if you're always putting yourself last, it can even get to a point where you get a sickness, like a diagnosis of cancer or MS or whatnot. Dr. Gabor Mate has written a book about that. He does interviews about that. He's done so much work with people. And we know that our emotions and our energy can cause illness within our bodies, within our beings. So if you're not taking time for you, start now. Start today. Start like meditation, going for massage and chiropractic, like empowering the being physically, but also doing things to ground. Grounding is so important. A lot of empaths don't want to be grounded because they don't want to feel everything. And because you often feel everything in your body, whether it's your physical empath or an emotional empath, you don't want to feel those things. You don't want to be that aware. Or if you've had trauma, it's too painful to be in your body. So grounding and taking care of you. When you're grounded, you have more clarity. You can think better. So when you see someone's behavior, and like you've been talking about this narcissist, then you'll be more aware and more conscious as to how unhealthy that is for you. And that you're not responsible for fixing them. They have free will. And like you said, most will not reach their potential. So when you're taking care of you, you'll become more aware and have more clarity to see that and know that they're responsible for them. You're responsible for you. But when you see those red flags, you see those signs, you'll maybe actually walk away and set those boundaries before it becomes an entanglement, that energetic, physical, emotional entanglement where you're suddenly responsible for that narcissist, for
Yeah.
that person.
Well, I think that's what, yes, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. It's that responsibility is almost,
Yeah.
it's almost like their purpose because it's been taken away from them. And all these disempowered empaths have some kind of trauma they're dealing with, some kind. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
And usually it's severe bullying on the highest level, like where
Oh,
you're
yeah.
told, it's whether it's from a parent or whether it's from like the surroundings, from superiors, authority, whatever it is, it's caused severe trauma to the point where you don't even have the power to maintain your self-worth. So here's the thing though. Easier said than done. Like my clients keep saying to me, Susan, how do I do it? How do I? Because she hates it. The other thing about empaths, they cannot stand it when I put the mirror up to them.
Yeah. No, it's too painful for them to see the truth sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but guess what? What do you think about the term truth? The truth sets you free. Is that true or not?
It does. Absolutely. Absolutely, it does.
So,
Over time,
you,
you're gonna have to face it and work with it.
right? The truth does set you free.
Mhm.
However, if you don't want to see the truth because it hurts you,
Yeah.
so how are you ever supposed to be free?
Yeah. You have to be open to seeing it, feeling it. Being an empath, you'll actually feel it in your body that yes, this is true. And you might feel fear with that, and pain with that, but you will know in your being. You'll know the truth. It's going to resonate somehow in your gut, in your heart.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
here's the thing, when we're dealing with that level of empathic superpowers where it's not developed, I would never look at a child of 4 years old who has the empathic powers. I would never expect them to know how to use it.
No. Sometimes they're brighter than we are and they can, but usually we
Yeah.
need some guidance.
But all these empaths out there that are stuck in spiritual ego
uh,
are like a 4-year-old
yeah.
who doesn't know how to use the powers, but yet on top of it is hurting themselves from it because they hate themselves for not knowing what to do. So they had to create a story to negate that self-torture, self-sabotage, to enable the weakness by creating a story that says they're now cursed and trapped. So then
Yes.
they go into these empathic circles where everybody is just saying, Nancy, it's okay. It's okay to be weak because we're all together now. So we'll be weak together.
They feed off each other. Yeah. Yeah.
And guess what? Now we've created a movement of role models for our youngsters to
Yeah.
stay entitled in that disempowered state.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. Absolutely. It's huge. And even setting the example in different ways, a lot of empaths will have addictions because they want to numb that ability too. So whether they're a shopaholic, an alcoholic, a foodaholic, whatever, even a heroin addict, whatever it is, it's addiction. And nobody's better than anyone depending on the addiction. It's all addiction and it's numbing. So they want to escape that feeling, escape themselves. Well, then you're setting that example for the children you're raising as well and creating addictions in them. And they may be different addictions, but they'll see that that's how my mom coped. That's how I need to cope because I have that same, you know, curse being an empath. So I'm going to do this too. It worked for her. It's going to work for me. So we have to really be conscious, be aware as to what kind of example we're setting for our kids. Because often, our kids will be in that struggle of empathy instead of seeing it as a gift if you saw it as a struggle. And if, you're setting that example in all ways. So we have to be conscious. We have to choose. We have to step up and be responsible and get out of our comfort zone and really face the truth. Like you said, the truth. It sets you free and it'll set your children free too, because we are creating other generations of suffering. And there's enough suffering on our planet. We don't need more.
No. And you know what? You and I are totally compassionate and empathetic of our past, of everybody's past. For us to bring up this truth in such a way, yes, it might trigger people that, oh, they don't understand us, they don't get it, but we do. But I cannot, for the life of me, sit here and enable it. I can understand. I could sit here for a 5-minute pity party, but at what point do you take the choice to do the work to go towards something you want while we heal as you go along? Don't sit sit still and sit there and heal all day long, because you're gonna the disinspiration of that process, you will just die out anyways and go back to numbing. And you need to be celebrating every day. It's funny, my client was half laughing the other day with my husband, and she goes, oh, Susan wants something to celebrate tonight. Every night I'm looking for something to celebrate. I'm looking for that reason where I'm going to go cheers, right?
Yeah.
And my husband goes, yeah, she celebrates even when she has nothing to celebrate, even when things are bad. And I'm like, yeah. It's like every night I'm like, honey, can you get me a glass of wine? I'm celebrating. He's like, what do you celebrate? You just broke your finger, right? Even the day I broke my finger, right? I'm like, give me a glass of wine. I'm celebrating. This is the thing.
To celebrate life, see it as a gift. It is a gift. Life is a gift. Every breath, every heartbeat is a gift.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And we don't have to feel it right away.
No.
Start creating that ritual. And you know what? If you don't know how to do it, I get it. Hey, I'm not expecting. That's why when I work with my client that has that issue, she always feels like I'm expecting her, but she has to talk herself off the ledge. No, Susan's not expecting me. But yet we feel this pressure of everybody looking at us. First of all, let me tell you, all empaths, nobody cares about you, okay? They're too much caring about themselves because you've surrounded yourself with other suffering empaths that when you're a suffering empath, you cannot possibly take care of somebody else.
No.
You have nothing to give.
You know what? When I was a nurse, I wasn't aware of being an empath or anything like that. Because back in the day, like I just thought I was weird. And my friends always said I was so sensitive. And I used to give from a bleeding heart often. I did. I took it on, but I didn't see myself as suffering. I never really labeled myself as a victim or anything like that. But I took it on. I took it on. I couldn't help it. I didn't know how to empower myself. I didn't know what the hell I was. I had no idea. So I would go to do my shift, as a nursing student. I didn't even stay in nursing. I worked in it only for a year after. And I would stay with my patients. Like I was supposed to do a 12-hour shift. I'd be there like 18 hours sometimes because I would listen to their stories and I would want to massage their backs, and they were lonely. So I needed to be with them. Or one was, going unconscious and I needed to help her come back to consciousness because she was going to die alone. And oh my gosh, it was like unbelievable. But, I don't regret any of it. But now looking back, I'm like, I was giving from a bleeding heart because I was so tired after every shift. And I would go home and make my dad cry. And he was a big miner, he was a big dude. Everybody was like, oh my God, Penty's so strong. Like you're dating Penty's daughter. Oh my God, you're brave. Like that's how his exterior was, but he had the biggest heart. And he would cry with me. He would cry with me so much. So when I got offered a full-time job at the hospital, which was impossible to get back in the day, he's like, no way, you're going back to school because you and I will both be in an asylum. We'll both lose it because we're both crying all the time. So, I realized I was giving from a bleeding heart. And instead of having the creator flow through me, giving that love, I was giving my energy. I had to save these people. I had to save the world. And it's such a crazy pressure that you naturally have when you are that kind of empath. And I'm sure there's a lot of people here that have that in them where they'll take it on, and it really can make you sick. It can physically make you ill. I never got sick from anything, but if I would have continued that life of never learning to be in a radiant heart from the creator and taking care of your temple as much as possible, going for energy work, doing things that you need to be doing to stay strong in your mind, body, and spirit, I would have been sick. I've been sick. So, maybe there's some people here that aren't victimizing themselves, but they're giving that way and taking it on without, like, they're like looking at us going, well, no, victim myself. I don't see it as a curse. I'm just constantly feeling everything. need to learn to let it flow through you and out of you. And that's where grounding comes in, letting it flow through you, out of you into the earth, and grounding and transmuting into love. It's all transmuting into love. You're not harming the earth, you're not harming anybody, but you're letting it flow through you. You can even like be in the shower, and the shower head is like, the light of the creator flowing through you and clearing you. Like it's just taking it on is such a big thing, even if you're not victimizing yourself with it. You're seeing it as just natural for you. You need to realize you're doing it.
And
And
that's
it
the
needs to flow
thing.
through
Yeah.
you.
Oh, absolutely. Nothing goes through you if the temple is off. It's like
Yeah, if
there's
it's
just
like cluttered with toxicity, there's gonna be no flow.
so I love the fact that I think I have this vision of helping people through the process from being disempowered as empaths. Okay, an empath, let's forget about the word. Let's pretend the word empath is just somebody with a lot of feelings. Okay, like that's basically what it is. It's somebody with a
Yeah.
lot of feelings.
Yeah.
Now, an empowered empath, so it's taking people through the journey of how to become an empath to an empowered empath. And so, what an empowered empath is somebody who has learned how to utilize the power of feelings
Mhm.
in the most positive way.
Yeah.
So they're not scared of their feelings anymore, right? Because
Right.
you've learned to understand them. You've learned to not suppress them and it's be like, there's no fear of your own feelings because yeah, feelings are scary. There's no rationale. There's no logic.
It can be, yeah. Absolutely. And the feelings from other people, they're not even your feelings and you don't know it. Being aware too, like, well, that person was in that state. I just took this on. I need to clear it. Like knowing the difference.
Yeah. So we need to change the sponge into a filter,
That's perfect, really. Perfect description.
right? Because we don't want the sponge. All you're doing every day is getting the sponge all wet with everybody else's stuff. And every night you're so exhausted and you're just wringing it out. And next day you're just soaking it. We don't want a sponge. We want to get rid of the sponge.
Yeah.
We
Absolutely.
want the filter. The filter keeps certain things out, lets certain things in. But there is a journey. And this is what the work that you and I do in combination. I figure out what that filter should look like.
Mhm.
And you're just keeping that person just like that light inside of the person attracting certain things that are more serving to them and keeping them high vibed. You're sprinkling love as they're undergoing so much fear.
Detoxifying the cells and the energetic, like the subtle energy bodies, and helping them to make empowered choices, to live an anti-inflammatory lifestyle with what you choose, what you eat, what you think, what you feel. It's so important, but you got to work with the subconscious to change those habits. I love doing that with people too. The subconscious
Absolutely.
is the body. It's controls everything.
You know what? We're living in a world right now where time seems to be the enemy. Everybody's panicking because they feel like they've wasted a lot of time. Oh, all of a sudden now I'm awakened, but oh no, I'm older. You know what I mean? Like becoming awakened when you're 10, 20, or whatever is
Yeah.
totally different than when you
Yeah.
become awakened at 50. It's like, oh my, and then all of a sudden everything is a rush.
Yes. Yes. You're totally missing out on life because you're rushing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. On
So
autopilot.
exactly, right? So but that's not fake. That's not made up story. That's the truth. Time is our greatest enemy in the 3D world.
Yeah. No, it is.
So here's the thing. This is how we've determined how we're going to speed up this process. That's why I work with the empathic world. I don't do it myself. I just keep driving. But I work with the empathic world, somebody like you, that we do the healing and the driving at the same time. This is the only way we can work with time. Otherwise, if you just do the healing alone without this working, because we're made up of two most important components in this 3D body: the head, the thinking, and the heart, the feeling. If you don't get these two going at the same time, this process is very slow and painful.
It to be the longest journey, and it doesn't have to be the longest journey.
No, it doesn't have to
You
be.
could have momentum.
Yeah. And this is where I think you and I appreciate each other so much. We love truth so much that no matter how hard it is to hear, no matter how hard it is to face, we know that we want freedom more than ever. And if truth hurts is our way to freedom, then bring it on, right?
That's where you grow the most, is when something actually is painful. You grow, makes you aware, wakes you up, and then it prepares you for change. What do you want? What do you want to create? And it's amazing when you go through that awakening process, everything you thought you wanted changes to even more deeper meaning, more fulfillment. It's actually so much more empowering than you can imagine.
Well, here's proof that I know you're empowered, because you've just proven it in such a short period of time. Now, of course, it's taken you a long time to get here. The work that you have done, I know somebody who's done work as an empath versus another that's just sitting there trying to find excuses, right? But you have done the work, which is very recently, I've watched you undergo the most massive challenges that life has thrown you. Like, seriously, right? Like,
all like week to week to week, like everything.
in 1 week, your whole entire roof could fall on you. And I'm sitting here watching, okay, get ready, because when there's about to be massive acceleration of transformation results and everything you've ever wanted in your life, and it's about to come, it always sheds away all the garbage in a very fast amount of time. So within 1 week.
That's been crazy. Yeah, it's been nonstop now for 3 weeks, but that's okay. Yeah, I feel more and more momentum. It's crazy.
In the first week, I was right there in the heart. Like, I just appeared exactly when everything was about to explode. It's nuts, right?
It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah.
But the grace and the strength and the dignity that you had to face so many things coming at you at once.
Crazy.
Sorry, you are an empowered empath. I mean, oh my God.
I actually felt it. Like, I felt it. I even, God, within this time, I had to put down my cat. That was my soul cat. And I've never been good with putting my pets down. Like, it's like they have to be sick, like, of course, for me to do that. And I've never been good at dealing with that. And because of that, Luke has told me I'm not allowed any more pets because I'm so terrible at dealing with it. And it was actually such a spiritual experience with him. We had time with him at the vet, held his face in my hands. We communicated. There was so much love. Even Luke held his face. Like, it was the most beautiful transition that I've ever seen with any of the pets I've had. And he was like a deep soul kitty. Like, this cat was like, oh my God, everyone's favorite when they met him. He was a severe empath. Like, he was like the line from the Wizard of Oz empath. Oh my God, he was like that soft, like disempowered, but yet powerful because of the love he shared. And it was beautiful. It was like, and I'm totally happy for him that he's with all the other ones in heaven and playing around. But I knew he was being greeted by his loved ones. I knew it was time, and I've never handled it that way. So never. And with everything else going on, we don't have to talk about everything, but holy moly. And that was, crazy.
Oh no, honey, I'm telling you, I've worked with a lot of people, and unbelievable how you handled yourself. I'm not saying nothing's perfect, but when you look at the context of what, and this is why I was telling my client too, I am just so in awe with you angels, all you angels that I'm surrounded by, the incredible, powerful angels who have had very dark times when the life has tried to dim your light. Life has tried to break your wings. And somehow you just go to the repair shop that God put on earth, and can you just fluff up my wings, please? No, but it's insane, right? And I don't know who I was talking to, but I was having this conversation around trauma and people that struggle, women especially, as struggle with very severe traumas that they have never even talked about. And there's a lot of women out there that are living with these traumas that they don't feel safe to even talk about. So they create this armor of protection, which is fine. Survive, nothing wrong with survival, no judgment. But I want us to really shed the light on there is a place you can come to where we will be empathetic towards your situation. We will be understanding towards the process of your healing. But at the same time, we will never enable you to sit as a victim for that long. We will keep moving you forward. We don't have to go warp speed, right? We go in the flow and the process and
everybody's different. So yeah, it's always a different pace.
yes. And that's why doing it together, me and you, is so beautiful, because you hold that space while I just push outside the limits a little bit. We have to keep pushing outside the limits. But if you work with people or a community that sees, hears, and understands you more than yourself and loves you unconditionally, and you will trust to let somebody just push you outside of that comfort, because that comfort is not where you want to be anyway. You want to thrive. And if it's time, if it's ever time where you want to stop surviving and start learning how to thrive, it's totally possible. We can bring on guests of ours that we've worked with, and they can now, after the fact, speak of their stories. And maybe we should do that, Nancy, bring people on and talk about how to be safe and how to allow yourself to be safe and take those risks again, because that's what life is about, right?
Yes, absolutely. And I think a lot of people, when they feel the love, I've often had people come in, men too. I've worked with a lot of men who have had trauma and stuff, and they feel love from you, then they know they're safe, and they can start to open up. They can start to receive the energy, even if they don't want to speak at first. They don't have to right away. They can just receive the energy, and that'll open the channels for them to feel safe, to feel liberated, to feel grounded, and yeah, become aware and awaken to who they really are. Because man, beautiful people in this world are suffering needlessly. So many beautiful people.
I guess what we can say is, to close this off, is we're not speaking to people who insist and choose to stay as a victim. That's okay too. That's on you.
It's always
Right?
divine timing. Not everyone's ready right away, or whatever. Maybe not even in this lifetime.
Exactly. So we're not saying that everybody needs to change,
No.
but whoever out there is listening who wants to change, then bring it on. Keep listening to us. Because this is where we want to lead you outside of that comfort in the discomfort. Discomfort is only to propel you to the next level of comfort and discomfort, but don't get stuck and being comfortable in being in pain. So we're speaking to the people that actually have a strong desire to be greater than they are. And that's it.
Even a spark, because if they have a spark, that spark can just boom right away. Like I've seen people where they're just kind of thinking about it, and then when they join a community, or like we're going to have a community, we're going to have stuff for people where they're safe, and that love, that safety can just ignite that spark into something they never expected. So, but you have to want to change at least a little bit. It's just a spark inside is even a sign.
Oh, beware. When Nasty sees a spark, she blows it up. Okay. So because your sprinkler is looking for those cracks.
Well, it's the love from the creator. I'm only a conduit, but yeah, there's love. The love can ignite fires like you wouldn't believe.
Oh my gosh, I love that. So let's ignite all the little sparks to create this beautiful fireplace on earth. I think that's the way we can end this chat. I mean, like I said, we can create a whole series on how to empower our empathic powers, right? And these are superpowers, and superpowers are not superpowers without developing. Even Superman had to develop his powers, right? Any last words, Nancy, about being empowered as an empath?
Embrace it. Change the story. It's not a curse. It is not a curse. And don't wear a crown for it. Just know in your heart it's a gift to serve. Okay. And think about ways you can serve in life and welcome the creator into you so you have a fully radiant heart and you're not depleting yourself in service. Okay. And take the responsibility off of you that you have to make everyone else happy. You're only responsible for what you bring to them, the energy you bring in service, but you are not responsible for their free will. Okay. You can guide, you can love them. Sometimes you have to love them from a distance, hold them in prayer, ask the creator to be with them if you can't be there, and shift will happen if it's meant to. You just got to learn to let go and let God, really. Like your creator's got more control than you do. We were created by this force. We didn't create our lives. We were created by that. So when we connect to that, then we can co-create and follow our true destiny, because we've been anointed and appointed a destiny for our souls. So give them a radiant heart, live from a radiant heart, have that creator flow through you.
I love it. And here, for me, it's just, you know what? Let's find out what you really want and where you want to go, because I can take you anywhere, but you're the one that has to tell me what you want. And I never, ever undervalue what you want. You tell me you want the world, I'll take you there, but you got to tell me what you want. So I think it's really important for all empaths out there to not feel guilty in creating a wish list, because pretend that Nancy and I are your genies. If you don't tell us specifically what you want, we're not here to tell you and impose on you what you should want. Let's end it here, and thank you everyone for listening. Nancy, thank you for talking to me about this, because you are truly an empowered empath.
Thank you, and so are you.
I know. That's why we love each other.
Yeah.
All right. Have a great day.
Everyone.
See you on the next one.
Love you all. Thank you.
Love you.